Welcome to the Digital Thread. I'm Cassandra Yocum, and today I have the wonderful Susan Clarke with me.
Hey Cassandra, thank you so much for having me. I'm part of Autodesk's AEC strategy team. And within that team, my focus is on our expansion into building operations. So excited to talk to you today about why connecting data across the lifecycle is so valuable.
IFMA put out a new study and the results, and it was really compelling and interesting information about what's going on with adoption in facility management right now. It spanned from digital twin to IoT and much more. Can you give us some insights on those findings?
Yeah, absolutely. So over the past 6 months, Autodesk has been collaborating with IFMA, the International Facilities Management Association. We ran a global survey with facility managers to find out their current pain points and how they're using technology in their day-to-day lives. One of the headline findings was most facility managers are still dependent on spreadsheets, email to run their day-to-day processes. And as we all know, these systems are not fit for purpose. They can't manage the complexity of workflows like maintenance or space planning. We also asked the facility managers about their investment plans, and I think the future will look very different. We heard that facility managers are increasingly interested in real-time data. So one of the investment focus areas for next year will be IoT sensors. We also heard that digital twins are part of their future programs. So around 20% of the respondents said they are looking to invest in digital twins in the next few years.
Interesting facts, and you just listed so many. I kind of want to dive into each of those and break it down. You mentioned that most are using emails and Excel sheets and PDFs as their main source of monitoring the building. Really, the issue is how much time they spend going through these documents, searching for the data they need. Can you speak to any of the issues that brings up for them?
Absolutely. So we actually asked the facility managers to estimate how much time they think they're wasting given today's data management practices. And we heard that on average, facility managers are wasting 12% of their time simply trying to use their data. And that's a real inefficiency for the sector.
It would be really interesting to break that data down further and understand whether those people are operating new buildings or old buildings, and really dive in deep to understand like where the issue is.
Yes. I think that's really fascinating. If I had to guess, I think there are more data management issues within old buildings. If you think about how many times a building changes hands over its lifetime, I can just see data being handed over poorly, and people struggling with incomplete views of what their buildings contain.
So the second point you made was facility managers looking to invest in real-time or near real-time data. Can you go into depth about this? I'm curious if they know what they want and what they want to be monitoring.
It's a really good question. What we heard from the facility managers is they would like to use real-time data, and in particular they see value in applying real-time data or near real-time data to support with assets and maintenance management. I think the reality is, as facility managers do start to use real-time data, it's not just about them adopting and implementing this technology, it's also going to require them to change their workflows. The maintenance of a pump, an air conditioning unit is often based around calendar milestones. So as we start to bring in more real-time data into maintenance workflows, I think to really drive change, we're going to have to relook at the way we do things. And it's not just about putting in a sensor and expecting to get value from it. I think what's also interesting about real-time data is the possibilities around energy management and sustainability. Having that more granular view into how your assets are performing, your energy intensive assets are performing, I think is very valuable for informing more focused energy management strategies. Today, most firms are tracking their energy consumption with utility bills or a single meter at the building level. But I think the move towards this more real-time data is going hand in hand with capturing more granular and precise data. So I think it's a very positive move for the industry, but we also have to think about the change management that needs to go alongside it.
So you said that only 20% of facility managers are looking at adopting digital twin practices in the next, 2 years?
Yes.
Can we touch on, do they understand the integration between IoT systems and digital twins?
It's a very good question, because in fact what we're seeing from our data is in the next 12 months there's lots of focus on implementing sensors, but where does that data go? So I think the rollout of IoT sensors in many ways is this first initial step. People are gathering more granular data on their building, but will soon realize that actually to really get value from that data, it needs structured, it needs spatial context. And I think that will drive a new wave of interest in digital twins.
And then who do you think's leading this? Is it the facility managers, or do they need to be partnering with their AEC team members?
It's a really good question. Based on what I've seen, there's actually a broad mix out there. So we have seen some technology champion facility managers that are really driving forward the adoption of digital transformation programs. At the same time, we're also seeing some really great examples, and I know that the Tandem team have been very much at the center of this, of AEC services firms becoming digital twin delivery providers. And in many ways, that segment of the market is very well placed to drive forward digital twin adoption. They are the ones deeply involved in creating and curating AEC data throughout the whole design and construction process. So if we look forward, I expect to see a mix of the two, but I think real change will probably be driven from that AEC services firm community.
So we think we're often under the impression that facility managers want BIM data or data from the AEC process. Can you go into detail about that?
The big headline finding was, in fact, 94% of facility managers said that they saw the data that we get from the AEC process, whether it's CAD, BIM, asset data, as highly valuable to their role. So that's nearly every facility manager out there does want the data to be connected better across the building life cycle. And there were 3 main areas of value for them. So I guess no surprise, they said we see the data being highly valuable for strategic maintenance management. Number 2, they saw the data valuable for space planning. And number 3, they saw the data valuable to support renovations. So if you think about the lifespan of a building, it often gets reimagined, reinvented across those many decades. And the operators were actually saying when we have better access to data from the initial build and design, we can run that renovation more efficiently.
I appreciate your insight, Susan. Everything you had to say in that IFMA study is really intriguing, and I can't wait to see how things play out over the next 2 years.
Great. So thank you, Cassandra, for having me. I've had a great time being part of this discussion, and I do encourage you to check out the full research report if you want to learn more.
I will link it below.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.